Hi friends, welcome to today's video, which is a what we eat in a week video. Today I'm going to be taking you through a week of meals for our family. You'll find several really simple meal ideas in this video, and make sure you watch to the end because I have a hot tip for you when it comes to meal planning. This is a very last minute meal that I'm making tonight, and I usually like to have dinner ready before my children come home from school. So today what I'm doing is I'm just preparing the potatoes, so scrubbing them, cutting them up, and they will keep in water until I'm ready to roast them later on. The next thing I'm making is some pecan and maple muffins, and it's a bit of an experiment. I'm trying out some different recipes for the blog, so today it's maple pecan muffins. I think they're going to turn out really well, so I'll let you know. These muffins were absolutely delicious. They were a huge success, and I do have the recipe over on the blog now, so I will leave the link for that in the description box below. I'm making a streusel topping for this, but I'm not using any flour or any butter. I'm using olive oil and nuts. It turned out really well and just gave an extra crunch and sweetness to the muffin, which was absolutely delicious. So the potatoes that I cut up earlier are drying over here, and the duck fat is melting and heating up in the oven, and I'm going to get these potatoes going. This is a really easy, quick meal to bring together. It's nothing fancy. It is just one of those meals that we love eating, but is super easy and great for a busy evening like tonight when I'm out on my way to work later. Now, my dad was the king of roast potatoes. He used to parboil them, then give them a good shake in the saucepan and put them into piping hot oil. And they were absolutely delicious. So we used to eat them on a Sunday lunchtime and we all absolutely loved them. I don't make potatoes like that because I think the varieties that we get here in France are not the same. I like to make them like this and put them raw into the hot oil. I usually like to keep the skin on for extra nutrition, and I think they turn out really well, although it's not the same as the way my dad used to make them. I'm going to make some egg fried rice for the boys because they can't have potato at the moment. So I'm just warming up some rice that I had in the fridge, and I'm going to add some eggs and a little bit of flavouring. I'm going to serve those delicious potatoes with some ham, some carrot salad, some green salad, and some of our favourite cheese, which is Comté, which comes from the east of France, where my husband is from. This is probably one of my favourite evening meals. It's light, it's easy to make, and it's delicious. One of our favourite salad dressings is this Asian style balsamic vinaigrette. It's very easy to make, and I'll leave a link for that in the description box below. I gave water kefir a bit of a break over the winter, but now that the weather is warming up again, I'm finding that I really enjoy a glass of this with dinner in the evening. It's sweet, it's sparkly, and it's so good for you. A staple in our diet is bread made with freshly milled flour. I make this several times a week, and we all really enjoy it for breakfast, for lunches, sometimes with dinner too. So I'm getting a loaf going this morning before I get on with anything else. I always like to soak the grains before I add the starter and the salt. So I mix together the water and the flour and leave that to sit for about half an hour before I add the starter. If you want to find out more about how I make sourdough bread, I will link a video in the top of your screen. So today's dinner is going to be a really quick one because I've been working all day, haven't had much time to be in the kitchen, and my friend's going to be here soon to have dinner with us. So I'm making chicken bowls. I've got chicken breasts in the freezer that are already cooked, so I'm just going to warm those up in a frying pan, make some rice, make a couple of sauces which take minutes to make, and cut up some avocado and some cucumber, and I've got some pickled onions in the fridge that we'll have with it as well. It should be a really good dinner. My rice cooker gets a lot of use around here because we have rice most days. So I have a very simple method. I measure out let's say 5 cups of rice. I wash it 3 times in cold water, and then I add 5 cups of water, and then I just put the rice cooker on, and it comes out with perfect rice every time. So it's simply 1 volume of rice for 1 volume of water, and that's it. I've made mayonnaise on here several times before. It's such a simple recipe. I do find myself making it a lot, and it goes really well with these chicken bowls. So I simply put the oil, the egg, the mustard, the salt and the vinegar in a jar, and I stick my immersion blender at the bottom of the jar, turn it on, make sure the egg is well mixed, and then pull up the immersion blender very slowly until all of the oil is incorporated. And as well as that mayonnaise, I'm making a version, I'm not saying it's a true satay sauce, but it's my version of a satay sauce. So plenty of peanut butter, some honey, some soy sauce, some vinegar. This is really delicious, and it adds a wonderful flavour to these rice bowls. So there you have it, chicken and rice bowls, an incredibly easy meal to make. I'm serving it with pre-cooked chicken, cucumber, avocado, pickled onions, some sauerkraut, and the delicious mayonnaise and satay sauce that I made earlier. And I like to sprinkle a little bit of sesame seeds over the top for some extra nutrition and because it looks really pretty. The next morning I got up and baked my bread, and it turned out absolutely beautifully. We'll enjoy this all week. Tonight's meal is one of my favourites. It's beef stroganoff, but made with minced beef. Wednesday is a chaotic day for me. The children have their activities, I have to do a lot of driving, and in the evening I'm pretty tired. I don't want to make anything complicated, and this is a great meal for that kind of day. Simply fry the onions and the mincemeat together, add those delicious mushrooms, let it fry down, put some salt, some pepper in there. You can add some herbs too if you like. I like to add fresh thyme and a little bit of water to help the meat cook and give a bit of liquid. I also like to add plenty of garlic because that adds so much flavour. I'm preparing this meal earlier on in the day because I know that this evening it's going to be mad, so I want to get as much done as I can beforehand. So I'm going to let this cook down for about half an hour, and then tonight I will take out a little bit for my boys who are allergic to milk, and then to their portion I will add a little bit of coconut cream, and to the rest I'm going to add some spinach and some crème fraîche, which is fermented cream, so it's a bit like sour cream. You can use sour cream as an alternative, or else you could also use some double cream. That would be really good too. Then I'll just let the cream melt and warm up, and I'm going to serve this with rice. I love this meal. I love mushrooms, and I think it tastes amazing. Tonight's easy meal is a tray bake. I love doing these because the only preparation you really need to do is cutting up the vegetables. That does take a little bit of time, but it's really not complicated. So here I've got cauliflower, carrots, courgettes, and I'm going to be adding potatoes to one of the trays. Then I have marinated some chicken in an Indian marinade, which I have over on the blog. I will leave the link in the description box below for you. That marinade gave such a great flavour to the meat, but also to those vegetables. It was an absolutely delicious meal, which was so easy to make. I just put it in the oven and forgot all about it. You don't need anything else with this meal. You don't need any side dishes or anything. It's all there on those sheet pans. And the cleanup is really easy too, which is amazing when you've had a busy day and you just want to go to bed in the evening. I've got a couple of sheet pan recipes on the blog and I will link them in the description box below too. So today is Friday and I have to go out to work in just over an hour. And on a Friday, when I get back from work, I'm usually pretty tired. So I like to have something planned that's either really easy to make and doesn't take very long in the evening, or I like to make it earlier on in the day and have it ready for when I get back from work. So today I've decided to slow cook some pork, and I'm going to slow cook it on a bed of onions with some fennel seeds. And tonight when I get back, I'm going to stir fry some apples and cabbage and onions together, and I think it's going to be really tasty. This is something really important with meal planning. You need to do it with your diary open and be aware of what your routine is. So if you're out at work all day, you're not going to want to spend an hour and a half in the kitchen in the evening. You're going to need something that comes together really quickly. But if you're there in the morning like I am today, you can get something in the oven, slow cooking, that will be pretty much ready for when you get back from work. You might have some days of the week when you have plenty of time to spend an hour and a half in the kitchen in the evening, and if you enjoy that, then that's great, do that. But you need to be aware of what you're able to do when you're planning your meals, otherwise things are going to go to waste. So in this Dutch oven I've cut up a couple of onions quite thickly, and they're in the bottom. I'm adding a shoulder of pork, I think it's a half shoulder of pork actually, some fennel seeds, some olive oil, some salt, and then some herbs that I have in the garden, so rosemary and sage. I've got a bit more time before I need to go out, so I'm going to get on now and prepare the cabbage and the potatoes. You can prepare cabbage really easily in advance. Just cut it up, put it in a colander, wash it and let it dry in there in the colander. It'll be absolutely fine when you come to cook it several hours later. When you're preparing potatoes in advance, you need to make sure that you put them into cold water, and they will keep for several hours too, like that. However, apples you need to prepare right at the last minute, so I will have to do that when I get home from work. This cabbage took longer to cook than I expected, but it was so delicious with those apples. I love this meal, and looking back at the footage I'm thinking I should make this again very soon. The fennel, the pork, the apple, the cabbage, it all went together so well. pork was cooking all afternoon and it just fell off the bone in the evening. It was so tender and so full of flavour, nicely caramelised. It was amazing. Homemade food doesn't have to be complicated, it doesn't have to be time consuming. I have loads of really simple recipes like this for you, so don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want more content like this, and I will see you next time. Bye!